Hello, my name is Adam, and today I'm going to be speaking about beards, the history of beards, and where they originated. Interest in beards began in Egypt. Priests and pharaohs regularly wore false beards in order to emulate their deities who could actually grow beards. Women were not immune from this type of mimicry. Hatshepsut, a woman who ruled Egypt in the mid-14th century BC, regularly wore a false beard. She did this to minimize challenge to her rule because it was generally recognized that those with facial hair wielded great power. It wasn't until the 12th century BC that man gained the ability to grow any semblance of a real beard. After the Trojan War, the king of the gods came down to pay homage to one of the greatest warriors of all times, an immortal he himself did not dare father. Zeus placed a lock of his beard hair upon the funeral pyre of Achilles, acknowledging his unrivaled skill in battle. The smoke from this funeral pyre spread out across the battlefield, imbuing every man present, whether for or against the Trojans, with the ability to grow a rudimentary beard. The gender specificity of this beardly boon can be attributed to Zeus's blatant and oft-evinced chauvinism. Man was not granted the ability to grow a full and glorious beard until the middle of the 8th century AD. A young Viking farmer named Skegg Bolverkur went to the giant Baugi's farm looking for work. He had heard a rumor that the giant's farmhands had killed each other in a fight over a whetstone. The rumor was true, and Baugi was eager for help. However, he was also deplorably cheap, so he thought up a plan to get a significant amount of work out of Skegg without having to pay him anything. He promised him all the mead he could drink for 3 years if he could complete all the work himself. Skegg agreed and went on to work in the farm for the rest of the season. To Baugi's surprise, at the end of the season, Skegg had completed all of the work. He knew he could never pay him what he owed him, so he devised another plan to murder him in his sleep. However, when he was sneaking into his room to crush him with a giant rock, Skegg woke up and during the confrontation ended up murdering Baugi with the scythe he had used to mow his fields. Suttung and Gunnlod, Baugi's brother and niece, came to his farm in order to decide what to do with his things. Skegg had heard of Suttung's mead and decided if he couldn't get what was owed to him from Baugi, he would get it from his brother. He traveled to Hnitbjorg, where it was rumored Suttung hid his mead. He found his way under the mountain and found 3 vats full of mead, one for each year owed to him by Baugi. To his surprise, there was no one guarding the mead, as the appointed guard, Gunnlod, was at her uncle's farm. Skegg knew there was too much mead to haul away on his own, so he appealed to the gods for help. Odin heard his prayers, but when he looked down, he noticed this was no normal mead, but Kvasir's mead of poetry. He came down, but rather than helping Skegg, he took all of the mead for himself. But, as a consolation, he granted Skegg and his people the ability to grow full and glorious beards. This was no small boon, as it is known the gods derived much of their power from their beards. The Vikings went on to dominate many of their foes, drawing on the power implicit in their God-granted facial hair. For centuries, the Vikings dominated Europe and parts of America. It wasn't until around 1350 that the sheer manliness of the bearded Vikings could no longer be contained to a single people. The ability to grow a full and glorious beard sprang forth from the North shores. A backlash of this beardly boon was the plague, affecting people not strong enough to wield a beard. After a brutal half-decade inoculation, everybody was finally able to grow a full beard. So don't take that beard for granted. The next time you want to shave, think of all that people have gone through to grant you the ability to grow that beard.